Brian Stearns, good morning.
Good morning.
You are the CEO of RingoFire, and I'm super excited to talk with you today about your business.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Can you tell me a little bit about that journey to starting your own organization? And we'll just go from there.
Yeah, let's do it. So as you know, I did the MBA program at Clemson a couple years ago. And that was really the catalyst or the inspiration to take me to where I am today. Spent about 8.5, 9 years in hardware working at TTI, selling power tools to the Home Depot and really being in that hardware space. But went back to school and was inspired through the program to launch a company. It was a class project that turned into a reality, literally during the course of a couple of semesters.
Wow, that's amazing. And that you've been with RingoFire now for how long?
4.5 years. Yep. So started about 2016, but at the time it was a nights and weekends kind of thing. It was a side hustle. I was still running a mobile DJ service. I was going to school at Clemson. I was working full time at TTI. So had a lot going on. But over the course of a couple months and into the spring of 2017, everything started to click and it became a full-time reality where I eventually was able to make the leap while I was still in school and start the company full-time.
And for people listening who may want to start a company or just are more interested in what you're doing, you have developed clients, and what is it exactly that you do for them?
We're really in the business of customer service. We just happen to be a marketing agency, right? I mean, everything is about taking care of the client, and every client's the only client. And I think I learned that early on from TTI, just how important it would be to make sure that Home Depot, for example, felt that they had all the love that they could get from Ryobi Power Tools, and how important those relationships were with key buyers and key decision makers. You know, I feel like we could have started a variety of companies, but if we were excellent at customer service, then and you bring the right team together, you can make it work. And we just happen to work in hardware. It's what I know. It's what I've been doing for the past 12, 15 years. And it's a space that we've really grown into to sort of be a preferred agency by some top, big box retailers has been, phenomenal. And we've built an incredible team around smart home and construction and DIY projects. And that's just really the space we're growing into.
And what exactly, if I'm your customer, what exactly are you doing for me?
We're coming in as your marketing and advertising leg. We actually don't even like to be referred to as an agency. I joke about us being the unagency in town. We want to be an extension of your team, your best partner, and we're solutions driven. So we're a consultancy in many ways. We're helping you with social media. We're helping you with Google advertising. We're helping you develop a best-in-class website. We're helping you sell a product, actually helping you get a product on shelf to take it to market. So it's a variety of things. It's really a full-service solution that we offer clients.
When did you come to the realization that this knowledge that you have and this desire that you have and this passion for great customer service could be your own business? It sounds like you did a class project, but it takes a lot of courage to jump out there, and maybe you did this kind of in a staged fashion.
I had a support group, and that was my cohort at Clemson during the MBA program. It started, actually, part of it started in your classroom. I had such a wonderful experience having you as a professor and getting to know people outside of my comfort zone who come from all walks of life and different backgrounds. I had been so used to that corporate setting for 8, 9 years. It was just refreshing. It was like I could hit the reset button and finally speak to folks about experiences that I'd had on the job. And it was my only job out of college, by the way, too. So I just thought that it was the norm, some of the things that I had to experience day to day and week to week. So that got me out of my comfort zone, and really just over the course, again, of several semesters of, we had to come up with an idea, put it to paper, present it. But why not make it a reality? Why not take it a step further and actually build a company around it? I had all the tools I needed during the MBA program. Professors to speak to, mentors who were coming into the class, other classmates to encourage me. So it was perfect. I would not be here today with you if that had not been an experience for me.
That's amazing to hear. I mean, I'm thrilled, of course. And I say congratulations to you, because you're the one who made the decision to put yourself, take yourself out of your comfort zone there at your job at TTI and go into the classroom and start, having to take classes and read and work and all of that on top top of your regular job. So you really put yourself in a place of most potential in some ways, wouldn't you say?
I did, yeah, and I've always felt a bit entrepreneurial, and I know that word it's kind of a buzzword. It's used a lot, just like innovation, but it's good. I was wanting to do something, but couldn't figure out what that was going to be. But at the end of the day, I realized what I really like to do is help people, right? So if you could build a business around that, I could have owned an HVAC company. I could have started up a franchise of a Subway. Who knows? But just having that mentality of I want to see somebody smile, I want to help them, I want to sell their product, I want to make them excited about something that's trending, is what gave me the encouragement to pull it around an agency, right? And someone had told me very early on where I was intimidated to the tune of, well, I'm not that great of an accountant and I really don't know business law and yada, yada, yada. I was giving myself these reasons not to make the leap. The classroom setting, the education gave me the encouragement to do those things. Go find an accountant, go find an attorney, build a team around things that you feel that you're not strong with, and then just drive home what you love.
And it's so clear that you know how to connect all the dots, and to hire the good people than to support you or find them. But you clearly knew a need in the marketplace, and that's not always easy to do.
There are great brands on the shelf at many retailers that have been around for 50, 100 years, led by some incredible leaders who just hadn't taken the time to understand the shift that happened 5, 6, 7 years ago of what we now know as digital, which today is just marketing. But it happened so quickly that many of these big brands at these big box retailers weren't able to partner with influencers or run their own Google ads or understand social media and how to sell product and generate ROI. Where we saw that as an advantage and took some examples and case studies to some big brands like Greenworks Tools and Serta Mattress Company and others that we're working with to say, let us be your digital eyes and ears in the stores and work with these folks for you, an extension of your team, and drive sales in a unique way that you've not been used to.
So value add.
Yes.
Not disrupting anything you're doing, but we can just come on board and complement what you're doing and do that thing maybe which you just haven't taken the time to.
Yeah, these are some really cool companies that we're working with, even here locally, some entrepreneurs in Greenville, where the leaders are visionary and they have great strategy, but it's that day-to-day checkpoint of everything you have to do now.
Yeah.
And by the way, things shift and change so frequently. Marketing and advertising were pretty set in stone for many years at a time, right? There'd be trends that shifted every 5 to 6 years. Well, now that shift happens every 5 to 6 months, and it'll soon be every 5 to 6 weeks. And that's just how quickly, if you're not on that boat, you'll miss it. And a lot of brands have been knocked off the shelf by an incumbent that just has a young and scrappy mindset of how to take things to market in a new approach. So we're there to help those new brands with that approach, but also to help the established ones sort of understand how to shift and adjust to what's cool right now.
Yeah. Young and scrappy. Would you consider your company as kind of young and scrappy?
We are, yeah, and I like that. And I'll lead with that in a pitch.
Yeah.
We are. We'll get things done on a dime. If a client needs a photo to produce on HomeDepot.com tomorrow, we're going to go get an Airbnb tonight and knock it out.
Yeah.
We're not going to spend weeks planning and whiteboarding and strategizing on well, who should the model be and how are we going to set the setting and what kind of lighting do we want. I mean, we just get it done.
Yeah.
And that's the attitude you have to have, I think, as an agency this day and age with the way products are selling. If you don't move fast enough, there's going to be somebody out there that does it quicker and better.
What do you love about being a CEO?
Oh man, working with a team. I have been able to build such an incredible team of hardworking, talented individuals. That has been my favorite part. That you wear many different hats, especially early on in the startup days. But at this point now, I've got several folks in place who are just running and they're leading and they're doing and they're making some really cool, campaigns and creative. And it's just that's been the best part for me here recently, just to kind of sit back and watch them kind of blossom, but be their cheerleader.
Beautiful.
Yep.
What's hard about being a CEO?
No sleep.
No, don't tell me that.
The travel and a little bit of pressure and anxiety that come with the day-to-day of, hey, you're in charge of 25 plus people's, careers, right? You've got to do what you can every single day to take care of them, encourage them, motivate them, show them some growth, leadership opportunities, and reward them. and just give them kind of the absolute best setting that you can so there's no turnover and that's just growing forward.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Have you always found that you were highly innovative throughout your career, throughout your school life?
I think so. I mean, I've always enjoyed doing things a little differently too, right? Even as a kid, I'd get the box of Legos and like scrap the instructions and just build what I wanted, right? Or tried something different, and always had some kind of a side gig or side hustle growing up, whether it's selling, lemonade or T-shirts or DJing parties or whatever. At a young age, wanted to do something to keep myself busy, but also to learn different traits and different things, right? Tried out for the track team, didn't make it, so I picked up, saxophone and became a musician, right?
You're a saxophonist.
Yes.
I love that.
So constantly like trying different things, pivoting, changing it up. When I went into TTI, I had the opportunity to come up with a new product called the Bucket Top Mister, which I got a patent on at 24 years old. It did $5 million in its first year with Home Depot, and it still continues to sell really well. So that kind of got me into product innovation, retail, new product design.
Yeah.
But then also supporting other people who had great ideas, but maybe just didn't know how to take it to market.
Yeah. Fascinating. So how do you keep your culture going in terms of growth, development, innovation? How do you encourage that? Or is it just kind of a systemic thing that happens?
We're we had a young lady come in this morning for an interview, actually, before I came over here. And that was one of the questions that she asked, just like, tell me about your culture.
Yeah.
And before I could even answer, another team member spoke up and just said, we're a family here. And it's just everybody looks out for everyone else. We challenge each other. We support each other. We wear different hats. We kind of know our different job descriptions, but at the same time, we all want to win. We're as strong as our weakest link, and we don't want a weak link, right? So we're just constantly working with one another to improve and kind of re-inspire new ways of doing things at the office that set us apart from other agencies in town or other agencies, in the world. So it's a really fun and diverse team. I've got some incredible leaders helping me day in and day out, kind of inspire and motivate, but also looking for new training opportunities. We do lunch and learns every other week. We get outside of the office. We help each other on photo shoots. We're traveling together to conferences. So those things are helping us grow too.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself to be a disruptor?
Yes. Sorry, I took that pause for some water. You have to be. This is such a competitive marketplace right now. We live in an on-demand society, right? Uber took out taxi cabs. Netflix took out movie theaters. I mean, look how quickly something can grow and change the industry. There are probably 55 agencies just in Greenville County, and that's why I call us the unagency. I don't want to be compared to those folks. I want to do things different, and that's what we do. We kind of take the model, shake it up, and build it a different way. We can get things done in an instant. We will get them done in an instant because it's that whatever it takes sort of attitude or mentality of taking care of the client and delivering, but doing it quickly and proficiently.
What inspired you to be in this work? What drew you to this line of work?
Oh, that's a great question. I was part of the team at TTI where we're doing rigid and Ryobi power tools that was able to take us into like the social and digital realm, right? We were very late to the game for even having like a Facebook account for Ryobi tools or an Instagram account. I was actually told no many times when I tried to encourage the team, hey, look at Craftsman's doing this, DeWalt's doing this, we need an Instagram account. And was told no so many times that I remember being frustrated. I went home one weekend and just started it on my personal phone.
Yeah.
A week later, we had a couple thousand followers, and I took it to my boss and I said, look, I'm sorry I did this, but it works. We need to do this. That was 2013 or 14, right?
That took some courage.
That really was kind of an aha moment of this can work for a brand if you can use it in a way that builds community and inspires people to build projects and to use tools. So I wanted to take that same concept to other hardware brands who maybe were also intimidated. They thought it might be a customer service nightmare or they weren't going to be able to keep up with it, and say, you guys can do this too. And here's the model. So we kind of started out that way, helping other tool brands with social and other entrepreneurs with social, but it's has since evolved into full service agency.
Wonderful. So tell me, what is something that you really like about yourself and something that you don't like about yourself?
That's another great question. I think I worry a lot, I've been told that my whole life. But it also keeps me on my toes, I think, It
Being
keeps
a warrior.
Yeah. So I wish I worried a bit less, but on the flip side, I think it gives me an opportunity to think through all scenarios that could happen in a given day with a client or with a new product launch or with a team member. I think my ability to host and customer service and show clients a good time and prove some results on campaigns are things that I enjoy. I just spent a week in Las Vegas at the National Hardware Show and had just a wonderful time working with our partners out there, walking the show floor, looking at new products, going to dinners. It's all about the relationship.
Yeah,
in this industry, for me, if I can be visible and relevant, I know that we can build something great. And that's what I enjoy. I love the relationship part of it. And I think I said a little earlier, right? We could have launched any type of business. If you can establish good relationships with your partners, your customers, your clients, then you're going to be golden.
I heard relational in there in a big way. And then the things that you described, though, take a lot of different skills.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about relational skills, but you're talking about analytical skills, and you're talking about putting together their kind of social campaigns.
Yes.
And then and some of that can be kind of exhausting. I mean, that's a whole spectrum of things that you're doing, and then you're entertaining a lot because I know you travel a fair amount.
Yeah.
So, are you enjoying all of that?
Sure. You said, but look how quickly my hair got gray here too. This was it's been 4.5 years, but it's
that's
been
a CEO
intense.
kind of thing. That looks good.
It is. It's still. I hope that in 10 years we still act like a startup, because it is 16-hour days sometimes. It's working through the weekends. It's sacrificing with friends and family. I went through all of that and still am going through that. And I think that's part of the grind that some people eventually give up on before getting over the fence of really expanding into other great things. Those are the tough initial moments of just really persevering, but building that support team and establishing and being relevant in it, whatever it is that you do. You got to build a great name for yourself. We live, look how people sort products by reviews today. You want to know what other people say about your product, about your service, about you as a person. So it's important for me to remain a 5-star business leader, a 5-star company, and deliver 5-star service. And
that's what's happening for you right now. Everything is staying in that 5-star category as you get your customers to grade you and that kind of thing.
Sure, and we're not perfect. We fail, we learn, we try new things. I mean, there's ups and downs in any given day.
Sure.
And that's sort of, it's good to hear maybe some constructive criticism or some feedback from a client that maybe you weren't expecting to hear, but encourages you to try something different or to improve in an area that you need to.
I wanted to, and you went there for a little bit, but I wanted to ask you kind of what do you see for RingoFire in the future? Right now, you have a great story. I mean, you've launched, you're scrappy. You say you want to stay that way. Even in 10 years, you still want to be that way. But what else? What other things are you thinking as you think about RingoFire? I'm sure your wheels are turning.
Sure, we're helping so many great clients again with their products in store. It's time for us to bring our own. This year, 2020, will be the year that RingoFire introduces a product to market, and we're going to do that, and we're going to execute it phenomenally, and it's going to be a lot of fun for the whole team to have some ownership in that.
Yeah.
So as we continue to help our great clients move and sell and create engagement around their products, this is kind of the year that we finally have some great things in the works where we're going to bring some things to market ourselves.
Wonderful. And RingoFire, I have to ask you, tell me about the name.
So I met Johnny Cash when I was 7 years old. My mom took me to meet President Reagan. Actually, my mom and dad took us downtown to Charlotte, my brother and I, to have photos with President Reagan. He was in town for some type of a press event. So we initially went there to meet Ronald Reagan, which was very cool. I do remember that sort of vividly as a child. But as we were leaving, getting on the elevator, getting down to the ground floor, as we were stepping off, this gentleman walked into the elevator, and I heard my mom kind of gasp, and she poked my dad, and as she tells the story, asked if we could have a photo, and he politely said, well, can I get off the elevator first? So we jumped off the elevator and took photos with Johnny Cash, and I've had that with me, and it's still hanging in my office. And I think from a very young age was inspired by his music and his life and his ups and downs. And I went to start a mobile DJ service in college under the name Johnny Ringo, which was the villain in the movie Tombstone. So I believe like that all those things sort of blended together. I started to build that Ringo name and just wanted to keep something fun and different. So many agencies are people's initials or last name, and I just think that's boring. So it's different.
Fun and different. Is that kind of a theme with a lot of the things that you're doing? Because I kind of hear that. I hear that, you want it to be fun and you wanted you to be different. And so that's kind of what it seems like.
Yeah, fun, different, and disruptive.
And disruptive.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah. Fascinating. So tell me if you, what was the best advice you ever received?
Oh, wow. Best advice I ever received. I would say, as a child, as a youngster, it was probably from my grandmother, Shirley Valenti, who's told me never to sweat the small stuff, which I just got done talking to you about how I worry about everything, right? So I still do that from time to time, but it stuck with me, right? Even until, present day of, you're going to have ups and downs every single day, but you can't carry that with you through the weekend or through the course of a year or two. She was one to go buy the expensive wine, bring it home and open it, versus people that save it and put it on a shelf and it gets dusty, right? It's living for the moment, enjoying life, and not sweating the small stuff. And then growing into sort of a corporate career and right after I finished undergrad at App State and started working in Atlanta, I had the opportunity of working with some really great business leaders in hardware. Folks like Mike Farah, whose father helped start the Home Depot. He's been a big mentor and friend of mine. Tom Armstrong, other people in the hardware business who have taught me to be visible and to be relevant and to encourage me to try things and take risks and take opportunities.
Those are two great words, visible and relevant. I've heard you use those a couple of times.
Yes.
So sort of a mindset of, which is important in your business, I'm sure.
There's no playbook to what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I looked for that early on. I'm still reading a lot, but I was reading a lot of like how to do this, how to manage, how to grow a business, how to advertise, how to place media on Google. But and you can get tips and tricks along the way, but there's really no secret sauce to what we've done. It's just been doing. We're just doing each day. We're trying new things. We're learning. But again, going back to being visible and relevant, I've decided I want to build this company around the hardware industry. So I'm going to live, breathe, and die hardware, right? I'm going to go to every trade show. I'm going to network with the industry professionals, and we're going to understand how to use the products that we market. If I can't go out and start a generator or use a pressure washer or frame a wall with a power tool, then I'm not credible in this industry. So as we bring on a new client, Monument Grills, for example, we're going to throw a barbecue. The team's going to learn how to light it, how to cook, how to clean it. We're going to become experts as much as we can, and also, be creative, take it to market, have fun, work with influencers, do all those things, but be able to speak the language too.
You're getting ready to move to a new space. Is that part of this, being able to experience all the tools and, will this give you more room and space for those kinds of discovery labs?
Yeah, we've had a fun time in the old chamber building downtown.
It's beautiful.
For about 3.5 years now, and I really hate to leave there. I think we may actually keep a small office just to have some space downtown. Yeah. But we're moving to the old Southern Weaving Mill.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be like our own little Warner Brothers lot. I think the team is really excited. We've got a couple buildings out there, one for photography and creative, one for the marketing team, some room for offices, but a place to grow. It's its own mini campus of backdrops and construction and just really cool settings and backgrounds that we can use for this kind of hardware space of marketing and photography and creative and video and all those things that we do day in and day out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's
it's a place for us to grow into. Really looking long term for the team. We're maxed out on our current floor right now, but still living every minute of it. This will give us an opportunity to have a place to really grow into.
Did you say loving every minute of it?
Yeah.
Isn't that a song?
Maybe. Or McDonald's, I'm loving it. I don't know where I got that from.
It's actually a song. I love when you said it. Yeah, it started playing in my head, but I'm older than you. So, let me ask you this. So, how do you want to be remembered?
I think that, my growing up going through undergrad, doing the different side gigs and things that I've mentioned, different jobs, it was always important for me to, whether I was DJing and looking out into the crowd, or presenting and looking to the boardroom, or selling in the aisle and looking at a customer, I like to see that human connection of making somebody happy or seeing them smile or getting them excited, no matter the moment. So if it could just be that general statement, if I'm remembered for showing folks a good time and helping them, I think that that's really all that matters for me. I don't necessarily need it to be defined by a business transaction or particular meeting or product line. I think in general of, oh man, I always had a great time with him, or he really helped us in a time of need, or his team really pulled off, some great work. That's really all that matters.
That's what matters to you. What are you curious about now? I can see that your wheels are always turning, but what are you curious? What are you looking at or studying? What's out there that intrigues you?
I love new home automation and just the connectivity of things and the Internet of Things, and was spending a few weeks ago, was out at CES in Las Vegas. So the new technology that's coming into, everyone has Alexa and Google and other things throughout the house, but now there's there's smart lamps, there's smart headboards. It's coming into furniture. It's going other places. The evolution of technology and artificial intelligence, things that are happening in AR and VR. That to me, it's always what's next. I challenge the team. Let's be the first at things, whether they pan out or not. Let's get all of our clients on TikTok. They may not all work out really well for that channel, for that audience, but let's try it. Let's just do it. So continuing to look and see what's out there, what's new, what's different, but also still helping those that are established and have some tradition.
What advice would you have for a young entrepreneur or an entrepreneur wannabe? An entrepreneur or an entrepreneur? Because I really feel like you started a lot of your work as an entrepreneur, there within the company before you launched out to start your own company. What advice?
Sure. I mean, I think you could have two options, right? You either care so much and are so passionate about something that you would give your all for it and just jump and do, or you still may be very passionate about something, not willing to make that risk, but go follow somebody who has, If you're a writer, go intern at the Times for 6 months under somebody that you've studied. If you're a skateboarder, go out to LA and hang out with a skateboarder that you've followed on Instagram. If you're not willing to make the step or the leap to start your own thing, then follow someone who could inspire you or maybe help you. It took me a while. I don't think it was until I spent most of my 20s in corporate, never thinking that I'd be here today where I am right now with you, talking about this business that my team and I have built. But it just, it was that moment of encouragement and the leap that it took and everything leading up to that, where it helped bring me where I am today. I didn't take the route of really going and following somebody who was super passionate about agency work. I just went and did it. And I've needed some support and some help along the way, and it's got us to where we are. But that's just, I think entrepreneurs have those two paths, right? They can be entrepreneurial and really study someone who's done great things like Steve Jobs and then just become an innovator at a great company like Apple, or they can go and launch their own Apple.
So I wanted to also say, as you were talking through that, is it lonely sometimes being the CEO? Because now you've grown this thing, but you have no peer as a CEO. I mean, there are times you step back and you go, how could I be? Have you found other mentors who are CEOs?
I've just started to.
Okay.
And I think that's something if I could rewind a few years, I would have tried that earlier. But I got so into the hustle of just grinding and doing and getting things done and building new clients and bringing in team members. I never really stopped to grab coffee with another agency leader or get to know another hardware industry business leader, right? I was so in the zone of I've got to quickly build this company, right? I just left a place where I had some security, and now I've really given myself a new, clean, risky slate, so I had to move very fast. I have recently met some incredible individuals in the retail and hardware and entrepreneurial space that have helped me quite a bit. I didn't have that early on. I wish I did. I got some inspiration from people who would come into the classroom and tell their story, how they won, how they failed. but never really had a person to call at the end of the night and say, hey, what do you do when a client gets toxic? Like, do you just let them go, or do you work through it, or how do you, who do you work with to file your quarterly taxes? Those are things I just sort of had to figure out and get things done. And over the years, I've brought in a couple of key individuals who you've given some ownership to that have really helped me. And that's important. You got to surround yourself by great people. I like wearing many hats, but you got to also realize you can't do everything at the end of the day. You've got to empower smart people to make the smart decisions for you at the times that maybe you can't. I can't be in 3 meetings in the same day, right? You want to have other folks who have that passion and that inspiration to help grow this thing. So that's helped too.
Cool. What questions should I have asked you but did not?
That's a good one. Let me think on that for just a minute.
Okay.
Man, you're stumping me here. What questions should you have asked me what you did not? I guess maybe on times where I have failed. Yeah. I've made some mistakes. I'm not super proud of some of the decisions and things that I did in my early 20s, and really learned the hard way. I had a great time at undergrad, right? But I graduated, barely, got a degree that I didn't even end up pursuing. And
what's your degree in?
It was I started in music at App State and then switched to public relations, but went right into sales from there. But I think that I sort of, matured a bit later. I'm really proud that I went back to school and felt that, I earned something wonderful from Clemson that inspired me to kind of break the chain of the day-to-day corporate life. But I think that even in times each day today where we may win or lose, in a given campaign or a moment with a client, it's always a learning experience. I don't believe that anybody lives kind of this perfect life of you read the books and the inspiration and the stories, but there's really always something that's helped them get to where they are through an experience that they had, where they really learned kind of what they needed to grow from in a time of discomfort or change or failure.
You have a very inspiring story, and your story is, I'm sure, inspiring all the people who work with you. The courage to leave a corporation after a period of time, the courage to jump out there and really start something new and put a unique name on it and be edgy and startup. And so I just want to say congratulations to you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. But I'm inspired by them, right? I mean, I wear the CEO badge, but I'm hiring people who are smarter than me. I have to.
Good for you.
I need to bring folks in who can help take us to the next level. My inspiration comes from what they do, the creative they produce, the copy they write, the meetings they lead. That's what's driving me now.
Yeah.
Early on it was, I need to build a business because I need a foundation.
And I love what you're saying, because it's a whole evolution and how it changes as you go forward, and you're riding that wave, and it sounds like you're pretty comfortable with it for the most part.
Yeah. Everybody's finding their groove right now. We the day-to-day juggle was always the struggle. And we're at a point now where folks are really, we've got super talented editors, a super talented photographer, an incredible copywriter, really strong account managers, and that's just bringing everything together. So I'm, again, sitting back and loving that.
Yes.
While still working extremely hard to grow the company, look out for everybody, inspire the team, and bring on new business. It's rewarding now and inspiring now to see an idea, a class project, a business model that I had now being driven by a team that we've built.
And we're so pleased to have gotten this interview with you so that we can share it with students, with alums, and because it's what we want them to think about as well.
Sure.
You know, what else can I do? What else is out there, and can I have the courage? So you're offering that to anyone listening.
Yeah, I am. And you know what? I get it. It's scary as hell. But if I had that support of my cohort and my professors and my family and now my team, if you care enough about something, you can make it happen. Don't let anybody tell you you can't.
Good deal. Brian, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was such a pleasure.
Great to see you.
Great
Thank
to see you as well.